Madison, Mississippi basked under the day's ebbing sun, an ordinary town marinated in the quietude of southern charm. The air tasted sweet, like lilac and honeysuckle, a deceiving mask over the damp decay born from the encroaching swamp. It was the kind of place that aged like bourbon, the wrinkles and blemishes of time forming a portrait of inherent beauty. At the heart of this slow-paced life, Edgar, a journalist by trade and philanthropist by heart, stood as an enduring pillar, with his soft eyes crinkled at the corners and crow's feet drawn deep from decades of laughter, worry, and scrutiny. He exuded a generous air of resilience, a silent strength that the townsfolk admired, despite the whispers of the shadows he carried within him. His alliance with the vulnerable was no secret. To him, the homeless shelter was a second home, where he found solace amid souls scarred by life's unkind tides. But this day was different. A trembling man, ageless in his hardship, extended a gnarled hand, revealing an artifact, its ancient patina humming with a story untold. "It's from the deep," the man whispered, his eyes echoing an unspoken dread. "From the world beneath us." Edgar's heart quivered at the artifact's sight. It felt like an echo from the past reaching out, beckoning him to listen. It was no secret that beneath the homeless shelter lay the skeletal remains of an ancient settlement, its secrets veiled by the opacity of time. Perhaps Charlotte could decipher this, Edgar mused, the thought of his estranged daughter igniting a twinge of pain and longing. A renowned archaeologist, she was the missing piece to this unfolding mystery, and perhaps the key to mending the chasm that had grown between them. In his quaint home, beneath the sway of an old ceiling fan, he examined the artifact again. He pored over each glyph, each archaic etching, like a man starved of the written word. The piece was a puzzle, a cryptic whisper from the past. His hands trembled, caught between excitement and dread. His mind began to reel, tugged at the frayed edges of schizophrenia that lurked within him. In the simmering silence of an early Madison morning, Edgar stood outside Charlotte's university office. He clutched the artifact, now a beacon of shared hope and untold terror, its whispers echoing through his fractured psyche. His heart thrummed like a war drum, fear battling determination in a chaotic symphony. Charlotte, her face a mirror of his time-etched features, but underscored by a spark of defiance, studied her father from behind her desk. The office was a shrine to past civilizations, an homage to buried stories of humanity and their endless pursuit of meaning. Her gaze finally rested on the artifact, the silent emissary from a forgotten past. "This belongs to an age long buried beneath our town," she muttered, her fingers tracing the symbols with a scholar's reverence. Her eyes met his, a question dawning within them. Together they unraveled the mystery. The investigation was a journey into Madison's shadowed corners and silent echoes, an excavation into an ancient world that now hummed beneath their feet. As they delved deeper, they unearthed a strange tale of a civilization that worshipped a dark, cosmic entity, a being from beyond the stars. In the quiet darkness of the Madison archives, a bond began to rekindle between father and daughter. Their shared passion for the truth, the thrill of the chase, began to repair the wounds of their estranged relationship. Their dialogue was a dance, a fusion of intellectual curiosity and affection, slowly healing the fractures of the past. Yet in the periphery of their newfound camaraderie, ominous figures cast long shadows. They seemed to emerge from the very grain of the town itself, embedded in its power structure, their motives shrouded in an unsettling ambiguity. Their surveillance of Edgar's activities was subtle yet persistent. Like wolves stalking a prey they knew would eventually stumble. He could feel their gaze on him, their presence a constant undercurrent in his investigation. His battle with schizophrenia blurred his reality, the line between paranoia and genuine threat thinning with every passing day. His nights became a playground for nightmares, monstrous entities whispering in his dreams, their voices echoing the tale of the ancient civilization. As Edgar and Charlotte stood in the gloomy basement of the homeless shelter, the weight of their discovery hung heavy between them. They stared at a crude mural on the wall, depicting worship of the dark entity, its visage a haunting testament to an ancient terror. They were at the precipice of a dreadful understanding, teetering on the edge of a cosmic horror that threatened to consume not only Madison, but their very souls. Madison's sun sank beneath the horizon, a burnt orange specter fleeing the gathering storm. This was no ordinary tempest. It was a harbinger of a story yet untold, a cosmic echo resonating with the heartbeat of an ancient entity. The town's sleepy demeanor began to warp subtly, as though touched by the spectral fingers of an unseen power. Streetlights flickered erratically, casting unhallowed shadows that danced with a life of their own. A collective unease began to creep into the lives of the townsfolk, an unseen specter tugging at the strings of their sanity. The tapestry of their investigation had grown complex, threads of terror and intrigue interwoven in a dreadful tableau. The mural in the shelter's basement became their touchstone, the central enigma fueling their tireless research. A monstrous entity, worshipped by the ancient civilization, began to take form in their shared understanding. A dark god of the cosmos, its existence seeping into the very marrow of Madison's history. As they delved deeper into the lore, a sinister pattern emerged. Edgar, in the throes of his mental turmoil, began to feel an unsettling kinship with the depicted entity. His dreams escalated into terrifying visions, the entity whispering cosmic secrets into his fractured psyche. Simultaneously, the shadowy group tightened their web around him. Their surveillance was no longer subtle. The revelation sent a chill down their spines. They were interested not in the ancient settlement, but Edgar himself. This twisted link between his past, his schizophrenia, and the dark cosmic entity felt like a noose tightening around his mind. "Why are they after you, Dad?" Charlotte demanded, her voice an anguished whisper in their claustrophobic study, now a battlefield of strewn papers and frantic theories. He had no answers, only a mounting terror. Their dialogue, once an intellectual dance, now echoed with desperation. The bridge they had been rebuilding seemed threatened by the very truth they sought. Their investigation had stopped being an archaeological pursuit. They were on the precipice of a cosmic revelation that threatened to unravel not just Madison's history, but the fabric of their sanity. As the darkness deepened, they were left standing in the face of an encroaching dread, ready to plunge into the final act of their nightmarish drama. Madison was no longer the familiar, quaint town. It was a sepia-tinted photograph, an echo of what it once was, its normality distorted by an unseen, cosmic malevolence. The very air seemed thicker, pregnant with an ancient terror that hung over the town like a shroud. Edgar stood at the center of this creeping dread, a reluctant protagonist in a tale that spanned eons. His nights were a blur of disjointed dreams and terror-stricken wakefulness, each strand of sleep spinning a nightmarish tapestry of cosmic horror. The entity beckoned him, its presence a cold, eerie melody reverberating through the corridors of his mind. The denizens of the shadowy group finally emerged from their obscurity, their faces a grotesque mockery of human civility. Their purpose came to light in a chilling confrontation within the homeless shelter, their voices echoing ominously off the aged brick walls. "You are chosen, Edgar. Your struggles, your existence, it has all led to this moment," their leader said, his eyes cold and distant as distant stars. He was not a pawn in a local power game, but the designated vessel for an ancient, celestial deity. His life, his schizophrenia, even his relationship with Charlotte had all been orchestrated to fulfill this dreadful destiny. His life's tapestry was torn apart, revealing a monstrous design hidden within its warp and weft. Charlotte, witnessing her father's plight, was torn between her intellectual fascination and the dreadful reality. Their pursuit of truth had led them here, to the precipice of an unthinkable choice. "You can't let them do this, Dad," Charlotte pleaded, her voice a tremulous whisper against the dread-filled silence. But Edgar was no longer the man she knew. He was an echo, a spectral image slowly being subsumed by the cosmic entity. In the end, he made his choice, not as a man, but as a father, a desperate act to protect his daughter from the dark forces. The transition was terrifying yet eerily serene. His humanity ebbed away, replaced by an ancient consciousness that eclipsed his own, his existence merging with the dark power. Madison remained unaware of the cosmic epic that had been ushered in. Its life went on, its normalcy a tragic farce against the backdrop of a looming cosmic terror. And at the heart of it all, Edgar stood, a man no more, but a vessel of an ancient, dark deity, his personal tragedy, a chilling echo within the cosmic symphony of horror. The conclusion was a morbid reflection of his initial intentions, leaving readers with a haunting image of a father, a journalist, and a town at the mercy of a cosmic entity. We appreciate you tuning in. If you fancied the content, show your support with a like and subscribe. Hit the bell to keep up with our eerie adventures. Eldritch Tales Factory has plenty more to offer. Until next time.